Welcome to this latest edition of the Real Deal podcast on this 13th of January 2020. I'm your host, Cyril Gerald-Quinn, taking you for the next few, who knows how long we're going to go. It depends. Um, as we discuss episode 612 of Power, He Always Wins. That was the title of this episode. This episode, of course, was in the perspective of one Paz Valdez, who, as we all know, you watch the show, is the sister of the murdered Angela Valdez. Now, how we're going to do this? We're going to go through the important scenes in terms of the meetings, the various meetings that Paz had with the various characters. She met with Patasha 3 times. She met with Warner a couple times. We're gonna go through all those important meetings, and just giving you an overview of the episode. Basically, Paz is living in Angela's apartment with her son and her father. They clearly have hit hard times because, as we all know, Angela was the breadwinner in the family. She was, bringing home all the bacon, paying for, her son's school, dealing with the medical bills for her father who's sick and suffering from Alzheimer's. So now Paz is desperate. She's desperate for money. She's desperate for answers in terms of who killed Angela. And she's just absolutely obsessed with trying to take down Ghost and trying to prove that he in fact murdered Angela. Angela, of course, we both know not we all know that that wasn't the case, but she was just obsessed with the idea that he did murder Angela. The first meeting with her and Tasha takes place in Tasha's apartment, and basically, again, you have Paz trying to tell trying to tell Tasha that listen, she wants to take down Ghost. She wants to take down Ghost. She had just saw him on the news in her apartment before she left out of her apartment about the fact that he was going to be the running mate of Loretta Walsh for lieutenant governor. This got her heated, similar to the first episode of this season. Not first episode, the last episode was called, was still Dre when he saw that Ghost was going to be lieutenant governor. So similar to that, of course, Tasha basically says, "Listen, there's no stopping him. There's no beating him. He always wins." And Tasha is not willing to take down Ghost because she feels that if that happens, then she will cut her kids out of their future as far as money and finances. So she's not with it. Um, Paz tries to press her buttons and bringing up Raina, which is immediately shut down by Tasha, and then they go about, and then she goes about her business. She goes about her business in terms of the next scene as she then goes to she doesn't meet with anybody, but you see her with a gun. You see her with Angela's gun. She's one of the two characters, two people that we know were following Ghost. Now the other one was in a red interior car. So Paz was one of the characters that was following Ghost that you saw in episode 610. No one can nothing, nothing can stop me. That episode. So she had the gun, was about to get out the car. As soon as she gets out the car, the ambulance passes by, and she, of course, freezes up and jumps back in the car. So we know, as Ghost is heading into his hotel, that that was the first time that Paz was thinking about actually killing him. Then Paz has a meeting with Sax. Now Sax reveals to her that Angela was not squeaky clean. She reveals to her he tells her that the evidence did not match up with Ghost killing Angela. Of course, Paz is in complete denial of all of this, and he also reveals that Angela was going to be charged as a possible accomplice to conspiracy to the killings of Mike Sandoval. Um, and also trying to get Ghost and Tommy and also Tasha free as well. So again, Paz at this point is enraged. She doesn't believe it. Um, but we all know that that Ghost, not Ghost, but Angela was in cahoots with Ghost and was trying to free Tommy and was trying to free Tommy, Tasha, and everybody during that season 5 finale. Paz then goes meets up with Blanca meets up with Blanca, and Blanca no, Paz then meets up with Warner for the second time, and she tells Warner that she's desperate. She tells Warner that she is willing to possibly sacrifice Angela's legacy just to put Ghost in jail. So she has her body exhumed in order to get the cell phone burner that she put in there, of course, back in which episode? Back in earlier in season 6, episode 2. It was episode 2 in season 6 of the beginning of the season, where she buried with Angela. That proves to get nothing in terms of incriminating Ghost. All that as the SIM card was destroyed, and now all you had out of that was all outgoing messages. So at that point, Paz tells Warner that she's willing to wear a wire to try to get Ghost to confess. But when all this does is get Angela deeper in trouble in terms of, because Ghost does not incriminate himself. He basically incriminates Angela, and now this causes her benefits, her pension, the pension that would have went to Paz and the family. This causes her to lose that completely. So during that meeting with Ghost, again, she was wearing a wire. There were thoughts that when we first saw this episode back in 610 that she possibly could have a wire, and it was that certainly was the case. She was wearing a wire. She was absolutely wearing a wire. Now you did not get the sense that Ghost thought something was up. In watching it again, I didn't get the sense that Ghost didn't trust. Um, I didn't get the sense that Ghost thought that Paz was wearing a wire. Ghost by nature is always careful with his words and always careful about in terms of what he says. And I don't think he intentionally tried to incriminate Angela. I just think when push comes to shove, Ghost is going to choose himself over anybody. You think about it, he's not going to say it. He wasn't. There was no way that he was going to tell Paz who killed Angela. That just was not going to happen. Paz, of course, asked Ghost during that same conversation who killed Angela, and he, of course, he did not. He said nothing about that. So told her he didn't know. She storms out. Ramona was in a little side room or behind a wall, overheard the conversation, which would lead to some events later on in the episode, that we'll talk about. Paz Jr. in the hospital. So after this takes place, during this meeting, Paz had left her phone with Werner and a couple of the agents who were listening in on the phone tap. And during this time, Junior and Tasha called. Junior, her son, calls about the dad who has had an anxiety attack because Junior told him that Angela was dead. Paz previously told him not to tell him that, but Junior, again, he's a kid, college kid. He can't take care of somebody with Alzheimer's, so he's in a panic about not going back to school, not having money to go back to school. So he's all upset. So he panics, tells the pops, his grandfather, that Angela's dead, and this causes him to go into and have an anxiety attack, and he's in the hospital. Now, and Paz lets Junior know that he's not going back to school because all of her efforts to get the pension from Angela's pension have failed, and her efforts also to get any evidence on Ghost have failed as well. So Paz meets Blanca, outside of her shop, outside of Paz's shop. Paz works at a salon, a nail salon. She gets her check early. She meets Blanca outside the shop. Blanca lets Paz know. And again, we saw part of this scene back in 610 when Blanca was telling Paz, and also Tate, that there was no evidence on Jamie. Nothing. They had nothing that could stick. Yeah, basically it was over. So she gives Paz that evidence, that news that the judge Tapper would not giving them an arrest warrant, give them a warrant to arrest Ghost. And at that point, at that point, it seems like Paz has no hope. She meets with Tasha for a second meeting. During that meeting, the key part of that meeting is the fact that Tasha let Paz know about Ramona. So Tasha lets Paz know about James is moving on with another woman. I'm assuming that this came after Ghost and Tasha met at Raina's gravesite, because that's when he let her know. If you go back to 610, that's when he let her know that he was moving on that he was moving on with another woman, and he was moving on with Ramona, and that he basically absolved her from the marriage and what have you. So that's the key part of this scene in regards to Paz and Tasha the second time. He lets her know about Ramona. Paz then meets with Tommy. Now she's just desperate to, like, all hope basically is lost. They have no money. Ghost is in the clear. She decides to meet with Tommy. You remember back in episode 2 of this season of the earlier in the season, at the funeral, at Angela's funeral, Tommy came up to Paz and let her sit and basically told her, if you need anything, I'm there for you. Paz, of course, takes that into consideration. She goes to Tommy's apartment and asks Tommy to kill Ghost. She brings a gun. She brings a wad of money. Tommy, of course, refuses to do so, and more importantly, lets Paz know that Angela wasn't all that good, and that and Angela wasn't all that good, and he refused. Of course, he refused to kill Ghost, and he basically pushes her out the apartment, or threatens to call the police, locks his door, and at that point, Paz goes to Truth to kill Ramona. Now, not kill Ramona, kill Ghost. Now, prior to this, um, after the hospital visit, after she gets home from visiting Tommy, she goes in her bedroom, lays down, um, leaves the gun for whatever reason, leaves the gun on her nightstand. Her son takes the gun and proceeds to go try to kill Ghost. Luckily, she catches him before he's about to go in Truth and shoot Ghost. Catches him, takes the gun, and then proceeds to go into Truth. Proceeds to go into Truth. Now, this is where time. This is where they were playing with time a little bit. If you remember, during the last episode, 610, when they were showing all the suspects, they made it seem like all the suspects were headed into Truth at the same time, which we know was not the case. So we know for sure, that Dre went to Truth after the party. All right, because he heard the gunshot, ran out, punched Blanca. Now we know, in watching this episode, that Paz went to Truth during the party, during the celebration. So Paz goes into Truth. She has the gun in her purse. Before she gets out into the crowd, she runs into Ramona in a, I don't know, it wasn't a, I want to say it wasn't a bathroom. It was one of these little side rooms and what have you before you get out to the main floor. She tries, of course, to convince Ramona that Ghost is this terrible guy, and that don't let him do the same thing he did to my sister Angela, as far as as far as using her and what have you. Ramona's not trying to hear any of it. Ramona quotes and tells her some people are just unstoppable, and some people are just unstoppable. Paz walks out. Now, I didn't get the sense. I didn't get the sense. Now, a lot of people think that Ramona is dirty. I just think Ramona likes men with power. Remember, her husband was in the political field. She sees ghosts. Remember, she's divorced. She had a messy divorce. A messy husband had a affair. So she's looking for a man. She got ghosts. Ghosts. She sees ghosts as possibly maybe a governor someday, maybe even a president. So I think I think Ramona just liked a man of power. I don't think that this was about. I don't think Ramona is this seedy character you know from way back when who's trying to get revenge on ghosts. I don't believe that at all. So Paz is about to pull out a gun right in the middle of the crowd, and she spots ghosts, and then she starts thinking about all the people that have told her that basically this was Angela, not Ghost. Whether it's Tommy, whether it's Tasha, she sees a flashback of Angela basically telling her that she was going to be with Ghost regardless. So basically, she came to her senses, and this is the thing about the episode that a lot of people are going to be annoyed by in regards to Paz. Paz for years upon years would tell Angela, "Why are you with him? Why are you doing this?" She was just as upset at Angela for being with him than she was about Ghost, than she was about Ghost being with Angela. She would tell Angela repeatedly, "Why are you with him?" So she finally comes to her senses that Angela wanted to be with him because it was her choice. And she finally came to her senses that I don't think she ever believed in her heart of hearts that Ghost killed Angela. Earlier in the episode, Warner told her, "You're not looking for justice, you're looking for revenge." So she puts the gun back in her purse. She leaves the party. Ghost sees her as she's leaving the party. So we have now Paz and Blanca. So she goes home, sleeps it off, wakes up the next morning, sees that Ghost has been shot on the news. Wakes up Junior, tells him that Ghost has been shot. He asked her, "Did you do it?" She denies it, of course. And then she goes and she meets, she buries Angela for the second time with the help of Cooper Sacks. She gets a call. She meets with Blanca. She meets with Blanca. This is now, mind you, this is the day after Ghost has been shot. So now we're in the present day. Some of the other scenes might have been, a lot of the other scenes might have been flashbacks. Now we're in the present day. Blanca tells, now the key part of this scene with Blanca and Paz the second time is Blanca tells Paz that we have a lot of suspects we have a lot of suspects in regards to who killed Ghost, and we know that Tasha was in truth the night of that Ghost was killed. That is the key part of that scene. That so it's first time. This is the first time that it's been revealed that Tasha was in truth the night that Ghost was killed. So now you have Paz, and Ghost's lawyer, who, don't call it a comeback. Jeffrey Owens, Elvin from the Cosby, he's in charge of Ghost. He's Ghost's lawyer. As soon as that scene comes about, you see Tommy's mom coming out of the office with him. Apparently, Ghost has broken her off some money, and she says basically, "I'm going to tell my other son that what my son gave to me." Now we're assuming that when she means her other son, we're assuming that she's going to tell Tommy. Some people have speculated that it might have been Tommy might be already dead at this point. I don't think so. Well, who knows? Who knows? Tommy could be dead at this point because we don't know where Tommy's story is going to be in terms of the time frame of when this happened, or whether Tommy was alive or dead. But she received something. Tommy's mom received some money from Ghost. Then Ghost's lawyer lets Paz know that he that he left money for her, not Angela. At first, she was reluctant to take it, but then she sees Tasha in the hallway. Tasha convinces her to take the money after she repeatedly refused to do so. Then Tasha takes her into the room and drops probably one of the most important lines in the episode, and that is the telling her that it was Tommy that killed Angela, not Ghost. And she explains to it. She explains the reasons why Tommy would do it. Seemingly, Paz believes it. Paz takes the money. Paz also asks Tasha whether or not did she kill Ghost, and Tasha gives no response whatsoever. No response. So you have you have you have the final scene of the entire episode is Paz has the gun, Angela's gun. She goes to Tommy's apartment for the second time, opens bangs on the door at first, but then realizes that the door is open and the place is spick and span clean. Tommy is long gone. Now, a couple of side notes. You had the Democratic Party twice come up and threaten Warner. The first time it said leave Ghost alone. This was when he was alive. Warner basically, blows them off. Then the second time, Warner is fired. We're assuming that Stephen Ott had that who of the Democratic Party had Warner fired, and I'm assuming that Ramona overheard the conversation with Paz and Ghost and put Stephen Ott on that situation. I think Ramona had that set up. So Warner's out. Blanca gets a confession from Dre, which gives Judge Tapper the arrest warrant on Ghost. So you had Warner confront Blanca about Dre, about the confession that Dre gave about Ghost. Basically ripped her a new one in terms of telling her that Dre would have said anything to save his own skin, which he would have. But even with all that being said, he still takes it to the judge. The judge, of course, gives the arrest warrant, and I'm assuming that once that arrest warrant was confirmed, that Warner gave that back to Blanca, and Blanca went, of course, then would go to Truth, was going to Truth to arrest Ghost, before he was shot. So overall, I think that we could speculate what happened with Tommy. Could Tommy be dead at this point? We're gonna find out. Or could Tommy? We don't know. They're doing a lot of jumping around with time. So we know that last scene ended. We know during that last scene that Ghost was dead, but we don't know. We don't know in regards to what happened to Tommy. The next episode, you're gonna have a lot. That next episode is gonna be a Tommy-driven episode. I'm gonna say I think that the episode overall was decent. I think that these first two episodes have been set up episodes for these last three episodes where you're gonna start seeing some fireworks. Because now we're gonna get into perspectives that we really want to see. We want to see Tommy's perspective. We want to see Tasha and Tariq's perspective. We even want to see Tate's perspective. So next episode, I think you'll see Tommy's perspective. The second to last episode, I think you'll see Tate. And I still think the last episode, episode 15, will be Tariq and Tasha. I'm starting to believe that Tasha had this whole thing set up and was pulling the strings on this entire thing. That's what I'm starting to believe. And I think that Tasha had Tariq kill Ghost. I think she probably told Tariq, listen, you will go to jail if you don't shoot him. He did this, he did that. If he's dead, then I'll get some of this money from the insurance that I'll be able to take care of myself. And yeah, so I think Tasha is pulling the strings here. Now again, this next episode with Tommy is going to answer a lot of questions in regards to the scene where Tommy and Ghost were getting shot at. We'll probably get answers to that. We'll also probably get that second person who was following Ghost with the who had the red interior. We know there were two people. One of they've already revealed that Paz was one of the people that was following them. There was a second person that was following Ghost as well. So this episode had a few nuggets in it. Um, in regards to now again we know again they said it for the second time that we Ghost is dead, so I'm not even getting into any conspiracy theories on him still being alive. He's dead. There's no question about it. They said it for the second straight episode that he is dead. MVP of this episode, it'd be too easy to give the pause. I thought Warner was great. The guy who plays Warner, Evan Handler, I thought he was great in this episode. I really I really thought he was. I mean, his dry sense of humor. He wasn't. He was in a couple scenes. I thought he was good. Pause again. That would be the easy MVP of this episode. The biggest takeaway from this episode is to me what happened between Tommy and Tasha. And I did so. What happened between Tommy and Tasha? Why did Tasha tell Paz that Tommy killed Angela? So to me, something off between Tommy and Tasha, which I think we will see in two episodes. We'll see it in the next episode from Tommy's perspective, and I think we will see it in episode 15 from Tasha's perspective. But something happened between those two. I mean, that's been like her brother all these years. Those two characters have been as close as any two characters on the show. Tasha's not a snitch. She wouldn't even snitch. Not a snitch on people that she deals with or that she likes. I mean, she did snitch on Ghost, but he kind of put her in that position to do so. But something happened between Tommy and Tasha. To me, that is the big question coming out of this episode. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Real Deal Podcast Power Review, episode 12. He always wins. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I will see you next week with episode 13. It's all your fault. I'm out.